and you will be conscious.
Sorry, I didn't
No,
mean
no,
to
no.
interrupt, but I just wanted to, because it's starting to be a beautiful conversation and I just wanted to record it. Okay.
Oh,
Do
thank
we
you.
have to click OK?
Yeah, click OK.
So I just regrouping. I was just saying that you're the first person that I heard thanking me for bringing the new consciousness, even though that's what I said many times, but nobody said it directly until you said it. And then when you said it, I said, you know, you're right. You know, that's true. That's what it is. And the reason that I needed that and somehow that particular assertiveness, it was because with the traditional consciousness, we will never think about a new consciousness. You know what I mean? I don't know what we were thinking. The idea came early in my life, but I never, I think it will be difficult inside of the traditional consciousness, the idea of having a new consciousness, because all that we have is what we have in that traditional world. And the idea that a new field of consciousness, a new informative field, a new life, a new perception, a new awareness, a new form of living life, a new form of sensing ourselves as humans. I don't know. It would be nice to ask you if you have that idea, but it was anyway. It was wonderful that you were brought it. So I always think of you as the person who, especially remember in the salutna, in the celebration, which is you say that the fourth dimension should not be present but should be creation, and then it made a big difference because the reason that the fourth dimension was really the field of presence is because that's what happened. That's what the new consciousness is. It's the field of presence. But the field of presence without the reality of creation, it will be very difficult to comprehend because it feels more like a field that you are almost like all inclusive, that there is no consciousness from which you can grow in it, or you can really perceive, or you can really sense yourself as yourself. So the fourth dimension was reinstated as creation. Originally it was creation, then became presence, and then became creation again. So anyway, and you understand why, because the fourth dimension is creation. Three dimensions is what it is, three dimensions. And then the field of three dimensions is the presence of life, the presence of God, and the new consciousness. As we experience it now in our life, participating as creation and the new consciousness, the fourth dimension is creation because it's the creative existence of our own sense of self, which we are all connected now in this new world, in which we are all participating in the manifestation, creation, and celebration of the new world. Yeah, it's wonderful. So anyway, as we continue, any questions about or any suggestions? I think Ellen had a suggestion, and she told me early this morning, just a little suggestion about what the topic will be, because I don't know what the topic will be, and sometimes I don't want to create it because I don't want to superimpose it upon you. It's almost more like what it shows up in the moment in you, and then if the space is too open for too long, then I bring something to activate it for whatever that we decided to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had come to this under this this question, which is around which is around the idea that we are consciousness, but we're in this physical body, this the physical reality, this energy field that we are. And in the face of the new consciousness and all the changes that are happening, you know, how do we deal with this and this new simultaneousness of life, of the new consciousness and the new understanding of almost everything. It's like everything that used that everything in my past is all gone now. And I mean, physically gone. Like, I don't, the house that I grew up in, all of the things that were in the house, every aspect of the things that I thought I was or the things that we thought were are, gone. And then what's happening politically and what's happening in the world and all of these shakeups. So it's just understanding more of an understanding of what the new consciousness is bringing is my question. Is
Yes.
everything.
And so as I talk to you, just be free to stop me and bring it forward because I wanted to engage you in it too. Um, I think that the new consciousness is a surprise because it is constantly renewing the idea that we are observants in life, or we are observants in what is happening, either to be in politics, either to be in the world, either to be in our lives. Because we are now in the new consciousness, we are completely simultaneous with everything. And we are more and more and more starting to perceive through our senses that we know, feel, experience everything at the same time. That is different than the way we used to experience things in our linear consciousness. In
Mhm.
our linear consciousness, we experience something, we observe it, we think about it, we make our mind, we express, and then we do the best we want, kind of the circumstances. Now all that disappears. We are now in a field that is all knowing, all understanding, all feeling, and it corresponds to the actual sensation of ourselves. So, how do we behave, or how do we perceive, or how we relate to life now that we are inside of life, as opposed when we were the observants, in which we were innocently, constantly divided inside of a mind that are always trying to figure it out, not too much of this, not too much of that, the middle between stages of conflict. When now we are not anymore the conflict, we are the solution of all things. And so it's kind of different a lot because before we didn't have that sort of understanding that we were the solution of all things.
Mhm.
We thought that maybe we were just observants. We do the best we can. We try to be the best we could in relation to the values that we give to our lives. But now all that is gone because the consciousness is dissolving itself. The whole world is dissolving itself inside of our very eyes. And for moments, it feels that the dissolving is like the last hooray for power. And your experience then sometimes in politics or the size of the different stages that were created as duality, they are all disappearing to the new world. So for us, it's a little bit different because we have spent years now to allowing ourselves to become more present with that possibility. And we were in preparation, so to speak, to be the ones naturally that can begin to anchor naturally the new consciousness as a natural existence among perhaps many stages of conflicts that they are, as I said, they're disappearing and dissolving.
Mhm.
But our presence is very much, I wouldn't say that we're needed because in the new consciousness, we are in a state of need. It's very much desired, if you know me, or very much welcome because the new consciousness without our awareness, it has no meaning.
Okay.
It's an idea, and then if it's an idea, it will become to the idea that what is the new consciousness. So inside of this new reality, we are the ones who allow the physical sense of self, since we are physical, totally physical. And the new consciousness, we are totally mental because we are the mind of life. And we are totally sensorial. We are the heart of life. We are the love of life. So we have united or are in the process of becoming more and more connected to that unity in which our conceptual idea of life our emotional perception and feeling of life, and the moment of physical life are becoming more and more and more and more present. And we can feel it in time. Time is disappearing, right? The sequence of time that in the traditional consciousness we use almost to an anchor to really figure it out what's going on. Now the sequence of time is united to eternity, which means it's united to the whole field of movement. There is the universe, life itself, and the very breath of our hearts. So we are simultaneous with existence. And therefore, uh, it's different because we, apart from being all perceiving, being in the field of whole awareness, being in the field of love, and being in the field of physical presence, through the fourth dimension, we are, for back of letter words, downloading the new consciousness as a reality not only for our human existence, but for the universe and for by the entire reality that we have called God.
Mm.
So we are atomic in that sense, and it's complex because our mind never had that thought. You know what I mean? Everything was inside of many ideas and thoughts and systems, but he never entertained the notion that they were all simultaneous. They were actually the nature of our being, and then we can reconnect with that idea that always existed in our hearts, in religion, in projections of philosophy, in the history of time. It could never be lived in that time because we were not yet already in the totality of the union with everything. Synchronicity was not possible yet. Our minds was not yet until it happens and we can synchronize it with creation. So here we are. We are, each of us is the created experience of the new world,
Mm.
from which, if you allow me to say, the new world will become one, because it is. All aspects of race, ideas of races will disappear because we are one and always have been. All aspects of confusion that existed in the environmental reality in which we attend the earth will be resolved because we become one with the environment. There is the healing not only of the planet, the healing of ourselves, the healing of every misconception that have occurred in the past into a new reality in which everything is beautiful, blessed, divine, all embracing, perfect. So in that sense, it required for us a little bit of contemplation about what does that mean? What it will mean? What does it mean that the world become one when in reality, seemingly, when you look at externally in the news, you have things going that seems to be that are absolutely crazy. And the wars that is going on, environments, political upheaval, and everything that they are almost like the last hurrah of a consciousness that had lasted for thousands and thousands of years, and is now dissolving itself into a new paradigm in which all things that they were projected as inside of faith, inside of the idea of religion, inside of the philosophy, as I said, they become real. They are no longer inside of the thought system that you would like it to be, either you will desire to be, that you have faith that it's going to be, that heaven is not going, it's going to be in another dimension, that God doesn't exist in this one, but it will exist in another place. So all those projections are merged into one. So each of us is the one that is actually naturally in a very simple form, integrating that conscious awareness in the planet Earth. Now, I would like you not to think about this as a responsibility, because if you're thinking about responsibility, forget it. You never make it and it doesn't work. You know what I mean? That's the reason that it has to be real. It couldn't be something that is coated by an idea that it needs to be in order to be.
Right.
New consciousness, it doesn't have a linear state in which you're going to get into it. It doesn't. It is the moment. It is the existence. It is the presence. It is the creation. It is the love. It's the presence of God, if you want to go into name it that way, because it's a very delicate place. God utilized it in that place. Yeah, because God, in the history of our evolution, was used like an image of a big idea of somebody who punish or not punish, or eventually will give you something, that we pray to it and so forth, so it becoming more and more, God is becoming more real, because it's actually you, it's actually me. Yeah, I am God. I am not one step removed from God and the reality of consciousness, on the new consciousness. So now it requires a little bit of contemplation, because in the old world, we were always separated from God. Even though it was the most extraordinary desire of our hearts, we're separated because the ideas that we had of it, it was all projections about something that it was not yet the very presence of our existence. It was removed linearly. You know what I mean? It was not the presence of my existence. It was, God give me this if I do this, and blah blah blah. It was inside of a system that it needed to be separated in order to have the communion.
Right.
Yes, and so that's a difficult, not difficult, but it's a little complex, because the mind linearly, sequential, created a separation in order to manifest the unity. That's what it was. Remember, originally we said that we separated from our natural state in order to return to it, and the full understanding of it, and then in the full understanding of it, they never told us what it would look or what it would be. They told us that we will come back. I didn't know that I will come back to the moment of physical existence. I thought that I will come back in the moment of heaven, or the world, or another world, another level of intelligence, and i.e. creation of not artificial intelligence, but about what we used to call the alien beings, that they were more intelligent than us.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's what we thought, but it's impossible. Ultimately, we humans, we were created in order to recover the totality of our consciousness, which we did now, the totality of our love, and the totality of the presence. And then inside of that, it became universal. That's a universal intelligence.
Mm.
So when we are now in creation and universal intelligence, it will always be the same. It will have the same values, because they are all the natural structure of the mind that is whole inside of itself. So it experiences itself as intelligence, it experiences itself as love, it experiences itself as the physical world. In relation to the physical world, we are back in the Garden of Eden. At the same time that the garden, as you can see it, is exquisitely beautiful, it's becoming more beautiful because we are more and more connected to the light, that is the intelligence of light. But at the same time, the garden, in certain places, if you look to the news, in certain places in the world, is being dissolved into ashes, destroyed by wars.
Yeah.
So both things are happening at the same time. The understanding that the garden is perfect and will always be perfect and will return to its perfection naturally as everything else dissolves. And all worlds and all creations of innocent ideas of separation will dissolve naturally inside of the new consciousness, from which we are the natural manifestation of human, bringing that reality as the natural encounter with life. We are the creators and the receiver at the same time of that experience. And the beauty of it is that the more and more that we are connected to it naturally, because it's happening all the time, that we become synchronized. And synchronized means that the world that is all inclusive is existing inside of a reality that has all the attributes that they would ever think, they would ever know, or they would ever dream. They are largest, as enormously largest, and very simple at the same time. Like the 10 dimensions, consciousness, that we are becoming present consciously. Becoming present consciously means that we are aware that we are aware,
Mhm.
and we are aware that everything is perfect inside our natural sense of wholeness, the self-contained all things. Yeah. So, light consciousness, which is light, then light, which is what we call crown. Remember that when we used to what we call crown is actually the instant in which the fountain of life, the moment of creation, is constantly appearing and renewing all things as one. That's the reason it's called crown. We decided to call it crown as opposed of light. Sometimes we use the word light, crown, because in the history of the planet, there were always the idea of a kingdom that we were always trying to connect to it. The kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven and earth, the kingdom of the country, the kingdom of the royal Russian world, the kingdom of the Vikings, the kingdom of Greece culture, the kingdom of all the Egyptian tombs that they contain within itself, and the mummified physical sense, waiting for the moment to come back in life when the whole process will be completed. So the kingdom of love, we in Unity in Motion, we use the word the kingdom of love because it just happens that the consciousness, when the new consciousness, as it is united between the mind, the heart, and the physical existence, created free senses or fulfill the free senses, that they really are love. So that requires a little bit of contemplation, because in the linear process, love was one thing, the mind was another thing, intellect and knowing and consciousness and professorship and many, many things that we created in our world. And then it was the physical world. This is the first time that the free senses of ourselves are the natural existence, manifestation, and creation of God itself, or love itself. I said God, but it's the same because God is love. So we are love. It's a big picture of love, you know? It's the biggest picture that you can imagine, love, because it embraces and is the energy atomically in the single most minute manifestation from the atom to the whole system, which is the celestial system, is nothing other than the presence of love unfolding as creation for the magical reality of consciousness, celebrating the glory of God. It's a lot, but that's what we are. Each of us is that whole thing. So anyway, listen to me a little bit. It seems like I went a little bit into these realms, but if you need to, we need to bring it a little bit more into this other realms that is more in the daily living. If you have any questions about that, I would like to assist you as well. If it is, Ellen, if you're thinking about the daily living, what it will be a question or something that you will say about how do you apply the new conscience in the daily living.
So, it seems like now everything is new, and I'm having to make decisions about things that I've never even thought about before or really know anything about. And so it's a lot of re-education. It's a lot of education for me, a huge amount of education in every moment. And it's exciting. I mean, it's certainly, but it's something, that is Yeah.
I get you.
It's so
Yeah,
new, everything is so new that there's always seems to be um um yeah, I mean a lot of things I don't know, which is it's
yeah.
but
Oh, they,
it's
yeah,
also interesting. Like you were talking a little bit about the fact that um every question now simultaneously has the answer. So
yes,
it's a huge undertaking to also be in that moment quiet enough to be able to hear the answer.
the
Um,
same time that that is the question. Yeah,
yeah.
the question already comes with the answer, as the conflict already comes with the solution.
Mhm.
And then so then let's say, for example, we have the conflict, and then we have the and then I said we have the conflict already come with the solution.
Yeah.
So I made it three things: the conflict already come, and then the solution.
Yeah.
In the new consciousness and creation, what we're saying, they are not three frames. There is just one.
Yeah.
So the very hearing, the very awareness of the conflict already existed inside of the resolution. It already existed inside, and your creative awareness bringing that naturally by you being present with that.
I see.
That's it. Those three frames have been taken away as a linear process of deducting mind.
Gotcha.
The mind doesn't deduct anymore. The mind is already inside of its whole system of awareness. So it's like a Siri. Remember that I was saying, like Siri. You ask it a question, Siri, and Siri said, "Well, give me a moment. I'm going to check to see what I'm going to tell you." It almost instantaneously you have the answer.
That's
In a
right.
sense, almost instantaneously, because there has to be a little gap, because in order for Shiri not to have a little gap, she will get God itself. And I say, okay, this is God. And answer your questions. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be, let me see how can I help you.
Oh yeah,
The
I mean
machine.
it's that idea that there's that I think that's I mean that's interesting because what really are we separate, are we really separate beings, are we really sovereign, are we, you know what I mean, if there's so many of us and we're all God, then you know
When then God is. And the moment that all of us are God, naturally, for the first time, God is completely is.
Mm,
You know
mm,
what I mean? Because God is everything, and then something is innocently, for whatever particular reason, maybe because it's not the time yet, or because in reality, in our human existence, we were all dorkies, very dorky. It's a very thing, well, because that's what you said, that you're learning constantly and
yeah,
you're discovering new things.
yeah.
And the new thing is a little sometimes overwhelming, because all of a sudden, many questions, answers, behaviors, how am I acting, became more present in your reality. And before they were, by that time, hundreds frame pass, and
Yeah.
then you were not really in the moment. And said, but we didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
We were never in the moment before,
Okay.
so we couldn't know the answers of the reality or anything, because the connection was unexisting. It was potential, because it's always there, but it was unexistent, because we were not connecting to the main radio station, whatever you want to call it.
We weren't present to the
We were not present in presence is the only thing. Presence and present is the thing that connects us to the main radio station, from which we are outside for the first time of the linear sequential mind.
Mm,
And therefore, we are in the mind that is 100% creative naturally, and he knows everything, feels everything, creates everything, because that's its nature.
yeah.
And for us, it's difficult because we sense ourselves like individualistically. We thought that our individuality was our own personal contraction inside of our own individual sense of self.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? We used it. In the past, it was called the ego, but we didn't even know what that was.
Hmm.
Because nobody knows what the ego means,
Hmm.
except as an idea of spiritual blah, blah, blah. But When we are inside of our ego in the past, it meant that we didn't have access yet to the totality of our natural sense that is already free from that compartmentalization of mind
Mhm.
and is inside of a whole system, which is the natural mind of life that knows everything, feels everything, and is everything.
So it's so interesting. So ego is really the God.
Of
Actually,
course, without the ego, we'll never know what God
never
is.
would have noticed. Yeah.
No, because as humans, we needed to be constantly in the presence of what is not,
Yeah.
in order to be able to evolve inside of the story to each of us as a collective and as an individual to come out in whatever way we could to keep adding to the field until eventually the field became complete. And then we became ourselves at the same time that we are in the presence of God. And the presence of God is not that we're in the presence of somebody with a beard waiting, say, I love you, you are the best, welcome my son. It would be the ultimate nightmare if can we say, welcome my son, because it would separate me into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
I was never separated from God. I will never be impossible because it is the breath of existence. It's not an individual projection of time that is going to judge behavior or any of those things.
Yeah.
All those were the creations of our own self trying to make sense into a field that it could never make sense.
Mm.
To grow in love and grow in consciousness and grow and as we become presence with the physical existence. So um, that's what happened.
Mm.
So in relation to bring it again back into the daily living, when I was this is a suggestion because this is what the way I see it. Whenever it's in front of me something that seemingly is still under conflict
Mhm.
of life,
Mm.
and I hear it and I see it, I am the solution of that, which had already happened.
Yeah.
So it's not that I have to create a solution.
Mhm.
So then the whole thing becomes a little bit funny. It's kind of fun because you can see how the two conflicts, if they're still in a conflict, they're going yapping about it and blah, 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 blah. And that conversation is already finished. And in the process of being finished, you can witness little by little, if you go linear, how it's unfolding inside of the people that innocently are in the conflict, how it's unfolding inside of themselves, revealing the the innocent uh, confusion that existed in the polarity and the conflict.
Mm.
Because the only reason the conflict exists is because nobody occupies the center yet
Mm.
and inside of the conflict, right?
Mm.
If the two things are conflicted, it's because none of them can be in the center yet.
Right.
Yeah, because then if we were in the center, the conflict will disappear. And I said, what am I doing? Why am I having this conflict with you? We already know that life doesn't have that we can be together and dissolve the conflicts, which are really confusions.
Mm.
All conflicts are confusions of a mind or linear mind that existed in the past. All conflicts are confusion in the heart as byproduct of the mind or whatever reason, and the heart is conflicted, then it experiences pain because the heart, the purpose of the heart is to live in love.
Mm.
And then the physical existence is a lot of stress because then we are always trying to run from one corner to another, trying to figure it out how physical discomfort manifests and how do we get to the physiology to manifest the love there is, which is naturally already is, and how the mind can live in the realms of creation, in which the self then can be 100% creative.
Mm.
Creation is 100% creative is the reason there is the void of duality because it doesn't entertain the confusion between opposite views. Is only integrated inside of the troubling moment of atomic existence as a manifestation of unity. It doesn't exist in the other field. So anyway, that's what happened for us. So I'll suggest in whatever way you want to see it that whenever you are in the presence of something that it may seems to be confused or dualized or conflicted or in pain or innocently suffering in any way, that you are the manifestation of the release of that feeling.
Yeah.
Because you are the only one who can know that that's it, that's all. And that's it. And the moment that you did it, you are connected to the field. Of course, you already are connected to it. And then eventually, even that idea will disappear because the field lives more in the atomic present moment. It doesn't live in the present moment of earthly existence. Hi, Darlene.
Hi.
It doesn't live in the present moment of the past earthly existence. It's in the present moment. The present moment, in that sense, it is the fourth dimension. Remember that I was saying that originally the fourth dimension was creation, and then we name it presence, and then Lois said, no, we cannot name it present. We have to go back and say creation. I said, okay, that's it, become creation. It was in the celebration. Remember, it was in the celebration, creation. So anyway, that's what happened. So creation, the present moment, is actually where we all exist now. And we will always exist there. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Creation, the presence of love.
The presence of love, exactly. That's it. Yeah, that's amazing. Wonderful. That's wonderful. And the fourth dimension, which is the fulfillment of three dimensions, and the connection between the fourth dimension and the other six dimensions, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The other dimensions are the experience of reality as it exists in fourth dimension, as there is the fulfillment of three dimensions. Yes, because I think that ultimately in relation to dimensions, I think that all, in my experience, all there is three dimensions. Because in the world that we were created, from the smallest particle to whatever possibility of mind can come into thought, was always inside of the realms of three dimensions. But we didn't know what that was until fourth dimension came, and then became real three dimensions, became the change experience of life manifesting continuously inside of the whole field. And then the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the ninth, and the 10th are the human experience inside of that reality. So then that's it. That's where we are.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Mary Pat, what you wrote was absolutely beautiful. And your invitation, I mean, do you know that it's beautiful, right? Of course, you
I just thought it was, I just wrote it.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Carolina called me. I didn't get it because when I got here, I didn't see anything that I needed. I could download it as that. I don't know why it happened, but I didn't get it. So then when I talked to Carolina, Carolina says to me, I read it and I said, oh, how wonderful, but I didn't get it. So then she sent it to me and then I read it and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's lovely, I'm going to tell you. And then, so anyway, your definition encompasses all the dimensions of unity and motion inside of that. And it was wonderful. So if you haven't read it, please read it. It's beautiful.
Would you read it now?
I'm sorry?
Can't you? I did not see this, so.
No,
can
yeah.
you say what it was, you said?
What? Oh,
Mary Pat, do you have it or do you want?
Well, it'll take me a minute to be able to
download
I have
it.
my screen over and look for it and find it.
Okay.
give me-
Just take your time.
Give her a minute.
I'm doing two things at once on screens. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Surprise.
It's good because it will be in the Zoom. It's very important because it will be in the Zoom, not as a letter that you send to the students only, but also as part of the consciousness that we're talking about.
let's see.
Okay, take your time. Don't be concerned about it. It's lovely. So then what happens is that Carolina thought the idea we asked Mary Pat will have it in the front page,
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's lovely too. So today I spent time reading the whole thing, and it was very beautiful because this is the first time that I got to read something that I haven't read in a long time, and I wouldn't change one word, which was I'm always trying to change everything. I mean, I always feel that it could be said better, that it could become more. But it was wonderful. So it was a gift for myself to spend the time, and especially because the the second um, the second what it would be the word sharing or whatever you want to call it definition, it was made by Kim Brabowski. Kim Brabowski.
Oh, you mean on the first page is what
Yeah,
you're
the first page. And Kim Brabowski's expression is 100%.
saying.
Each of the Ellen, you, Mary Pat, Nancy, everyone who wrote whatever it is in that, they're 100% realistic. So you don't have to read anything else in your life. Just read that. Well, no, it's beautiful because the word has been honored completely. Remember that we always say in the beginning that in the beginning was the word,
Mm.
and the word was with God, and the word was God. There are many stories about it, whatever they said in the long story. But what happens that when we enter the new consciousness and we enter the new field of consciousness, the word for the first time became the real expression of our sense of self.
Mm.
Instead of the expression of our intellectual self or our emotional self or our physical expression of self, it became the totality of it. In the word becomes redeemed.
Mm.
The word redeem is not a good word, but it becomes honor.
Mhm.
So the whole idea was in the past that man does not live from words alone, but from every word that comes out of the mouth of God, I think it was saying, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that will become a little bit because the man does not live from words alone, but by every word that is expressed inside of his heart.
I think,
Gotcha.
Christian, I think it's a quote from the Bible, and it's that man does not live by bread alone.
By
Yeah,
what?
By bread
Oh,
alone.
you're right, you're right. Man does
Not
not
by
live by
every
bread
word from
alone,
the
but by
Father.
every word that comes out of his mouth, yeah, of the mouth of God. So it's interesting because in the new consciousness, God will not say anything. The only one who can say anything is you. You know what I mean? It would be impossible for God to say anything. Can you imagine God? What is he going to say? I mean, in the instant it says one word, it divides the whole world into, oh, yes, it's from here, it's this part, and there's God, and there's it's part of the religion, there's the one, this is blah, blah, blah. The mind will desecrate it into billions possibilities of interpretation, and it will deny innocently the existence of God. So he couldn't say anything. God is. That's it. But he can say everything through you, through me. I am God. So the only reason I can talk about the new consciousness is when I said, okay, I'm going to say it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take it. And then when I did it, it came out very simple because it's actually me and it's everything. So that's it. It's simple. And that's the reason that we are in this new expression of creation, in which all of us is the image and the likeness reunited to the source of its light. The light being the intelligence of creation. So anyway, Mary Pat, did we find it?
yeah, I have it up here.
Okay. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Just if you can read it, not read it too fast, because I would like to hear it completely.
Sure.
Not that you want to do it fast, but
Okay. I am eternally grateful for the personal balance and understanding of the unity of all creation that the practice of unity in motion brings. No matter what is happening in the world, it assists me to respond with love and a steady centering in the high frequencies that create a pathway for entering and sustaining a reality that is based in love and unity in the now moment. Each now is the only place that the creation of change can happen, whether personal or in community. Becoming balance, beauty, and divine love presence is what we can offer as service to ourselves and to the world. Everything happens energetically before it becomes form. So we first be the change we want to see in the world, and then our hearts guide us to the creative action that matches our essential nature.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's it.
So I
Good.
put that I pinned that to the chat, so that's in part of the meeting there. So if you
Yeah.
again, that's there.
Yeah, because if we were to synthesize everything that we said from the beginning until now, is synthesized in that statement, and it's lovely. And especially because remember that Mary Pat did something that we all did too, that we are doing this. From the moment in which we started entering the field of consciousness, we recognize that our words are the very natural creation of our experience in the world and everything. Most of us really know that what we said is what we are creating. We thought that what we said is our opinion or something that we say or whatever it is, but it wasn't clear that we are creating our natural sense of self by very word that come from our mouth, because all words are really thoughts and concepts of minds. Yet the words do not exist. In order for a word to come into existence, it was for a concept, a thought. Yeah. So because it was created by the mind to recognize something, and it gave it a name in order to be able to create a form of return or a form of continuity from which it can know itself more as a process of evolution. So we created all the words that existed, and each word came in a specific time as we were unfolding. And the word is sacred, it's beautiful. So once we, in the new consciousness and creation, it's not that we have to be careful about what we said, because if we do that, it's not going to work either. But it's a good step if you think in that way. But whatever you're saying is what you're creating. So then if you, once you begin to understand that, it's not that you're careful about what you're saying, it's that you become present about what Mary Pat says, that every single aspect of yourself, it corresponds to the entire world, into the entire manifestation, moment to moment, of the natural unfolding of the new world. And the words are fantastic. Yeah. So remember that Mary Pat also, when you did the poems, remember the process of your poems, that you told me once, told to us that sometimes it would be like 3 or 4 days before the new word come in. It was true. It was my creation. That was it, right? You said that.
Yeah, that's
That was the truth. That when you begin to writing about that specific reality of unity, forgive me if I say that in my awareness was that you got inside of the whole field of creation, and then all the words are correspondence inside of that field, and the words are essential for that particular manifestation. They are not relative. They are a specific word that correspond to that particular design inside of the field of unity. So then when you enter that, it changes your life, I'm sure, because then everything that you talk, think, or feel became changed by your understanding of the word. And you can see it through the poem that you wrote. In all of us, this exists in all of us. It exists in me, and Carolina, Nancy, Ellen, all of it, Mary Kate, everyone, Lois. We are all inside of the word.
Mm-hmm.
The logos, remember? Remember that saying in Unity in Motion, that the real magic of words is the world is made up out of words. And if you know the meanings of the words in which the world is created, you can make the world whatever you want. And I would say that you can make the world a completely new world that exists inside of the perfection of its own existence, for the pleasure, the honoring, and the love for all of creation, the whole circle of life. And that's it. Fantastic. So anyway, I think it's absolutely divine, Mary Pat, that you did it. Thank you for that. And I would suggest that I have the copy now because Carolina sent it to me. And it's something that I could read every morning because it encompasses everything. It encompasses the consciousness, I think, first. I don't know if you did it. I don't know if you did it in that sequence of encompassing of things, but that's what it shows up in the whole poem. The Can you read it again? Can you do it again? Now that we
Yeah.
talk about, let me see. Yeah, you can never read it enough because it's perfect. Yeah.
Where is this in your poetry book?
No, this is just in a letter that I sent out to students to, and just say that fall classes were going to be starting.
No,
It's kind of done as,
It just came out of the oven.
just recent.
yeah, I just wanted to invite people to, to tell them, and I always try to write a little, inspirational letter when I start a new set of classes.
You're good at that. You're
So,
wonderful at that.
uh, okay.
I actually put it in the chat, so if you need to find it.
I have it. I just had to move the Zoom screen over so
Okay.
that
You're doing well. I mean, I would freak out. I would be freaked out if I had to do what you're doing now.
because it's all in the same, it's all in the same window, so I have to move things over. Okay. I'm eternally grateful for the personal balance and understanding of the unity of all creation that the practice of unity in motion brings. No matter what is happening in the world, it assists me to respond with love and a steady centering in the high frequencies that create a pathway for entering and sustaining a reality that is based in love and unity in the now moment. Each now is the only place that the creation of change can happen, whether personal or in community. Becoming balance, beauty, and divine love presence is what we can offer as service to ourselves and to the world. Everything happens energetically before it becomes form. So we first be the change we want to see in the world, and then our hearts guide us to the creative action that matches our essential nature.
Fantastic. That was it.
Wonderful.
I think that there are five phrases. Are the five phrases, I mean? Because when I got it all continual, but then I separated it a little bit into phrases. But anyway, because there are five different stages of it, but they are perfect. But anyway, isn't that wonderful? It's something that it will be music to my ears forever. Yeah. So anyway, then.
I wanted to share too that since you were talking when I first got on about the fourth dimension and the celebration and it's always bothered me a little bit that it was sort of became a string of words, and I kept trying to find a way to put them together in a way that made sense to me that flowed more like a statement. So here's what I've been playing with.
This is the celebration, right?
Yeah.
Talking about the celebration. Yeah.
So for creation, presence, okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is starting with see if I can get it right. Presence, love unfolding creation in the unity in motion that is the eternal moment of life.
That's beautiful. Yes.
The way I've been saying it lately, trying it.
That's wonderful. Sounds perfection. That's good.
So is that just for the fourth dimension, or is that for all the dimensions?
No, that's just for the fourth one.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it just seemed choppy to me the way we had it in the.
Yeah, if you can write that, that would be great.
I don't remember. I'm very much. I mean, I do remember, but I think that the celebration became a very fantastic document in the New Consciousness for myself. I read it all the time, and I practice it all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that the most divine nature of the celebration was there was centralized and the free planes, the free horizontal planes, they are constantly changing. The planes of crown consciousness and unity, the plane of balance, beauty, and love, and the plane of whole nature, infinite regeneration, and foundation paradise. No, whole nature, infinite regeneration, and physical reality, the ecstasy of life. And the reason that those planes were so important when somebody began to study unity in motion is because in unity in motion, in the beginning, when we study, we define what it is 0 point, almost as a static alignment that correspond to the sphere of life. It's almost a static alignment. But then when you start practicing, this a static alignment is just the center of that particular experience, because it becomes the outer arc if you go out, and it becomes the lower arc if you go down. And then from then on, you're always in the outer and the momentarily horizontal instant of 3 dimensions. We're always in 3 dimensions for the momentary instant of the alignment in which gravity and expansion are the sphere of life, which is occurs all the time. But nevertheless, that was fascinating, and that was wonderful, because it allowed the person, when you start studying, then that the whole thing is discovering those 3 planes, which in reality are corresponding to the possibility or the reality of the vertebrae extending inside of their own center of natural alignment.
Yeah.
And without all those planes and all those centers, it would be impossible, because the person will have to think constantly that they have to lift the spine or extend it or open it up. And if the mind thinks that, it closes itself in order to do it, and then innocently bypasses the experience that is what it really wants. So the celebration became a divine thing. And remember that this celebration was called, what was called before? It was another name. What was, no, you had another name. Remember when we changed it?
Celebration of the 10 dimensions of life, right? I mean,
It had another
It
first.
had another name. I think it was called the celebration, the invocation.
oh, the
Yeah.
invocation,
It's called the invocation, remember?
guys.
And,
Invocation of balance.
and then we realized that it can never be an invocation, because an invocation has a separation already inside. So then it became a celebration. We reversed it and it transformed it into the reality and took away an innocent projection that it needed to be. So it became.
And I just found out for just as a flow thing, is that when we're doing the celebration and then we go into the fountain, that the first gestures are so similar of whole nature and infinite regeneration for the connection to the beginning of the fountain. So it's so interesting, because the movements came very separately, right? The fountain came long ago, the celebration came now, but the celebration I do first, and then going into the fountain, and all of a sudden you're in that 3-dimensional space and that 3-dimensional understanding. So it's really fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. But the way when you explained it to me was, remember self, that we went through enormous discussion, merging all past and all future as the reality of one.
Yeah.
When it was changed when Mary passed. So that figure 8 that existed there is really actually the figure 8 that we have in the beginning of the fountain.
Yeah.
And it's the figure 8 and everything, because it's all an interchanging balance.
Right.
Even though it may feel, it's all symmetrical and asymmetrical at the same time.
For me, the whole nature and infinite regeneration are also a figure 8.
Yes, absolutely, definitely.
Right. And the fountain, I believe, begins in that
Yes.
So
Yes, the figure 8, fantastic. It was wonderful. So anyway, I love the celebration. Mary Pat, you have to give us, I have to write what you said, because it's beautiful too. I would like to use that. It's all ultimately, all the movements and all the connections and all the practice is nothing other than awakening the essential feeling within our sense of self, that then it has many components because it's whole, but also it is the way that the heart rejoices and then the mind releases, because the rejoicing of the heart is nothing other than the unity of the mind. And then the skeleton, which is the physical component of all this geometry, it rejoices because the skeleton is nothing other than the mummified expression of the history of human. And I use the word mummified because it is the crystallization into form and time. You know, the skeleton consists the entire layers of our DNA inside of it completely. It's the story of our cells inside of the skeletal formation. So then when the skeletal formation became free in the practice, and it became the energy and became the spatial form, the skeletal formation could really relate inside of itself as a whole and began to release the memories that existed in the skeleton, carry the DNA of human, that they were never real, were gathered through thousands of years, but they were all in the process of becoming whole and releasing the memory of that particular dream time into the new stage that is also the presence of the new world. So our skeleton is constantly realigning. And it's beautiful, loving the skeleton, you know? Yeah, because otherwise the skeleton is the brittle part of ourselves. It is not true. The skeleton is a very fluid a formation of energy. And so anyway, it's wonderful. So yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you so
fantastic. The
much.
skeleton is the most
Incredible. Yeah.
important. It was very complex. But Carolina and I, listen, I laugh because we were trying to get the skeleton, you know, to define the forces. And it was very funny because when I tried to take them from the books, they would all look like cadavers. You know, they were just like a formation. And I said, how are we going to get the skeleton to look like it's alive? Because it looked like so inert and everything. So then,
Wow.
so then we decided, maybe for a moment, wait, what about if we put a smile in the skeleton? It wasn't about that. It became alive when it begins to become interconnected inside of the metrics, because then the metrics provided the relationship of the skeleton inside of their centering, and then the skeleton became manifested as reality instead of just like instead of an innocent misinterpretation. Because you know, in the anatomy books discovering sensing the planes of space, there never was defined the center of the skeleton as being the center of a space.
Right.
It was a linear idea of the mind, you know, just creating a center, but it never came as being the center of a space. So if it wasn't in the center of a space, you could never understand balance. Impossible, because you will always be opposing force trying to make something out of it, and you will bypass the real experience from which everything can come together.
Yeah.
So in Unity in Motion, we started with the impossibility. We start with a linear definition of a space that is complex for the student. I said, what do you mean a linear, blah, 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 but that's a reality. So anyway, it was a wonderful adventure and very funny now. Every time I see the skeleton, I say, hey, how are
And
you?
it is true, because all of those drawings, all of the anatomical drawings are all from cadavers.
I know there was all. Remember when people have the patience to go to the morgue and finally ask for the pieces to break it apart, and then trying to make sense of all the muscles and all the connections with something that is already dead, and then, you know, put it the best you can, and then it will be very complex because you're taking the very life force, which is the original thing that make the body to be what it is. But that was the way we did it. We did it all through the separation between the life force and form.
Yeah.
So form becomes an interpretation of death instead of being the very life that it is.
Yeah.
You know, became very complex. But anyway, it's all very funny now and sweet. You know, it's all like it's lovely. But anyway, returning.
It is such a great distinction that the centering being the center of space rather than the center of the body, you know.
Exactly.
And so it's not a physical reality that you're embracing an energetic reality.
No, it's a union actually, because the sphere of life is the constant. Remember, this is required just a little bit of contemplation, because all the rest is the sphere of life. because the sphere of life is the planet, the sphere of life is the smallest particle, a piece of ash is a sphere, everything is a sphere. So we are inside of what we call the physical phenomenon, which is the sphere of life. And once we begin to comprehend that, it makes it easy because the body can sense itself in all relations to space. Without the analogy of the sphere of life, all the relationship to space is flat like a pancake, because the mind will always make it like front and back. It could never know what does it mean, all directions of space. It becomes an imaginary, helpful, an imaginary, let me see, projection of the mind. But all relations of space is the given reality of the breath of life as it appears in the born in the child, or manifests the child from the beginning to the moment that it becomes present. So the first reflex of our human existence is the sphere of life. We are all inside of the sphere, even if we know it or not know it. But when we know it, it makes it simple, because then we can use the sphere to release any complexity that may exist in the confusion of the mind, that may exist in the emotional disturbance, or it may exist in pain. Because then the mind can travel inside of itself, which is its form, and release any neurological pressure that is being created by the mind inside of a thought system that it never was real. So the free becomes released inside of themselves. The free things, you know. The mental confusion becomes total clarity. Emotional instability becomes love, and physical reality becomes ecstasy. So that's it, you know. No more pills. I mean, if you want everything, you don't need anything.
Bravo.
Because life is already involved. There couldn't be any other drug in the existence of reality than life force. You know, that's it. And then if somebody decided to take it for a particular reason, there will be a right to. It may enhance momentarily, but then the clarity of that particular experience could never be brought by anything else that actualizes the mind more, or the emotion more, of the physical, because the unity of the free is the given of three dimensions, which is how we are. So it's wonderful.
Bravo.
So anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I think I wanted to
Thank you.
be true to the time.
Yeah.
So I love you. It's just really wonderful. I think we did wonderful. The wonderful thing today, we never got to the real, no, it's not the word. I don't know for sure, Elena, when you asked me, I know that you asked me perfectly about how do we relate in this new world with the daily moment of our physical life. And it's complex because you cannot give too many examples, because any example will be interpreted inside of a behavior or inside of some particular definition that it doesn't exist anymore. But in reality, we are all doing very, very well. And especially if we remember constantly that we are witnessing the undoing of the dream of time. That's what there is. The entire consciousness is involved in the undoing. And when the undoing in any degree takes place, the mind readjusts itself inside of its true connection. And then the energy flow realigns itself, and the physiology becomes present. So it's almost simultaneous. The undoing, it doesn't have a gap. And if you have to have a gap, it will be provided by the divine. The gap will be if the person all of a sudden becomes present with the mind release, and is in a situation that before was behaving inside of that reality where the mind was not released, and the conflict is still existing, even though the person is now free. So there is a gap in us between the new experience and the new knowing, with an old world that we are all involved, but it doesn't match that yet. So then the divine comes into existence, because the divine is the one energy that make all the changes in every single human being. When the person is sleeping at night time, blah, 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 everything is going on. So all the changes are occurring gradually. So as the change in our individual self, it doesn't provide any confusion, doesn't provide confusion. We are not jumping frames.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a seamless rearrangements of consciousness that allow to perceive through our connection to light everything much more in much more deeper form. And then that connection of the mind and light realigns the nervous system, because then the nervous system begins to become part of the rhythm of everything, and then it becomes sort of a connected to time differently and sense itself differently, and begin to transform any complexity, confusion, or conflict that exists in the outside world now into the maybe what it was our relation to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So when that gets released, then the physiology rejoices because it becomes present and everything is beautiful. And then that becomes the food of life, food of life, the presence of beauty. Because that's all it always was. It's beautiful. Food becomes beautiful. The flowers become beautiful. The garden becomes beautiful. I become beautiful. You are become beautiful. Everything. And it's kind of weird, a little bit weird, because in the linear world, things were contrasted with beautiful and ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Or certain degrees of beauty and certain degrees of none. But now it's not true. Everything is beautiful because it's self-contained within itself, the transformative nature of coming into correspondence with the new world.
I think that's the key, really.
That's the key. Yeah,
That is, that reminder and that understanding is so potent and powerful in my soul and my understanding, and that, thank you. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Good.
I love you so much. We love you. We love each other so much. We love each other, and we love the world. We love everything, because love is all there is. So anyway, I get to see you again in a couple of weeks. Okay, thank you for everything. And if you feel like it's anything that we like to write, and don't be just come out. Yeah. I mean, I don't say that because I don't want to put in the idea that you have to do something. But if it comes, just do it. Yeah. All right. I love you.
Thank you,
darling.
everybody, for coming.
Wonderful.
And everybody, Mary.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Lois, it's just so.
Thank you, Lois. We miss you when you're not around.
Everybody, and Nancy and Carol.
And Mary Kay is so lovely, so beautiful. Thank you.
Good to be here.
The great Nancy, darling, my darling Nancy, yes, beautiful. Thank you for everybody, okay? Carolina, we love you. Ciao, ciao. Ciao.
Bye.
All right, till next time, 2 weeks.
Yes, I think that we are in perfect. Oh no, we are 5 minutes late, but it's all right.
We're perfect.
All right. So